So you've learned how to do journaling, you learn how to do meditation, you do oracle readings, tarot readings, you go and see psychics. You're doing all of the spiritual girly things, and yet you're still feeling funky. You're still feeling off. In this video, I'm going to tell you why and what you can do about it. My name is Carly, and I have been coaching, mentoring, and guiding women into their brilliance, into their highest light and highest potential for the last 10 plus years. So in this video, I really want to cut through the crap, cut through the overload of things that you might be inputting into your system and tell you what really moves the needle, what really shifts things. And what's really important to remember, first up, is that there are 4 layers to our body. There's more, but we'll just keep it simple. 4 layers being the mental realm, the mind, which many of us are familiar with, the emotional realm, the feelings, like our feeling centers, the physical, so like the things you can point at, our physical body, and our energetic. Actually, the energetic field that surrounds you, which we actually emanate from. It doesn't emanate from us, but that's for another video. That is some advanced, more complex mystic discussion. So the energetic field that we can connect with is also part of our body vehicles. Read all the books, done all of the journaling things and the meditations. We are accessing very, very shallowly, usually just the mental realm, the mental and perhaps a little bit of the emotional. Unless we have dived deeper with a very skilled practitioner into the energetic realm and even into the physical somatic realm, we are likely not yet in a space to take all of the learnings, to take all of the things that we're essentially mentally accessing. It's only going to leave it there, like it will leave it there. And so you'll have these moments of clarity, but then you'll find yourself in an experience, say, that rocks you, and you will think to the knowledge of what you've learned, but you won't be able to feel it. You won't be able to feel the shift, or you won't be able to actually use that knowledge to make a significant difference in where you're at. I like to call that top level stuff mental candy. It is some really tasty mental candy that essentially like people throw out, like, yeah, and like people grasp it and just like, oh, gobble it up, like, oh, isn't this so tasty, and can you believe this, etc. But it's not super nourishing. It's not really going to feed you. It's not really going to nurture a deeper sense. The words are pointing to a deeper sense, but they're not actually going to facilitate that deeper sense of connection, that deeper sense of knowing, that deeper sense of certainty and trust in the broader divine or in yourself and your soul. So part of the reason why this happens is that we've been taught to absorb things, and that's kind of where it ends, right? But as women, in particular, we have wisdom centers in our bodies, particularly in our hearts and in our womb spaces. And if we are inhabiting purely in this area, which so many women do, we're inhabiting just this, we do not actually arrive in the centers of feeling and of knowing within ourselves. So all that knowledge rattles around up there, that mental candy rattles around, but it doesn't actually arrive into the muscle. And there is a well-known saying, and I have not got an attribution for you, but the saying is something like, knowledge becomes wisdom when it is in the muscle. So we want to turn that mental candy into nutritious food that we can then eat and actually have it be something that we grow from, right? That grows us, essentially. So just on that, I referred to women living up here, and I like to call that the lollipop woman syndrome. And it is so much more prevalent around the world than we think, particularly in the Western world. And that is that many women walk around and they are energetically, they look like a lollipop. So all of the energy is up in their head, and then their little popsicle body has barely any energy. And we want to shift that. We want to change that so that the whole body up and down is full of energy, and it's really, really allowing energy to flow through it from the cosmos down into the earth, and from the earth up into the cosmos. And that is when receiving knowledge can then become more embodied and more of an experience than just that mental candy rattling around. Over the last 10 or so years, the vast number of women that I've worked with in my one-on-one mentoring and coaching practice, as well as in my programs that I run, there has been a countless number of highly intelligent and extremely capable and extremely well-read women who come onto the call and they say things like, I know that I should be doing XYZ. I know that I should be connecting into myself in the morning. I know that it's not sensible to be scrolling on my phone all the time and blah, blah, blah. Or I know all these spiritual truths about, the ethers, the mystic realms, and yet I have no idea how to actually bring them into my body. Or, countless others. They could quote me verbatim so many really, really great spiritual texts, and yet they haven't actually allowed themselves to experience it yet. And that's the key. Will you let yourself in? Will you let yourself into your heart, which is truly a significant fuel for women, but it is also a place where we experience tender emotions and a lot of fear and a lot of pain gets stored in here. And so we block that off at some point in time. Could be in our childhood, through our teenage years, into our 20s, whatever. We block that off because it hurts too much, right? But then we also block off beautiful, pure sensations of being able to connect into our own joy, to connect into our own ecstasy, and to receive truly the knowledge that we are so desperately trying to receive. And similarly, the womb space. Are you willing to be there with it? Have you shut down or clamped down on some of the pain that you experience through your monthly cycle, or some of the pain having been transgressed in that area by somebody, or perhaps even yourself? Like, there is a lot of tenderness that can occur in this area within a woman. And when we shut that down and clamp it off, we've been taught by our cultures to ignore, to shut down, to berate, and really it just wants to be opened and be present with and be loved, right? These are those first few tender places that we actually need to be with in order to come into communion with a more embodied sense of all of this beautiful spiritual mental candy that's coming around, that's around the place, that we really want to know, right? We want to know it, but we can't know it when it's just up here, because this is just thinking. Thinking is not knowing. And so the key here is that there's not generally a lot more to gather information about, but there is a lot more to embody, to connect with, to be present with in the now moment within your own body vehicle, to allow that knowledge to truly land within. We need to be more. And there are so many ways that you can begin to do this, but really just being present, placing your hand on your heart, placing your hand on your womb, and breathing with yourself. can be a really great way to enter into a somatic connection with your system, with your body. And you may come into connection with some pain, and you need to be with that. You need to tend to what it is that wants to be seen and heard, what it is that you may have clamped down on in the past to shut down these centers within your system that are so important to you to enable you to thrive as a woman in this world. If you want to go further, I have a really fantastic tool. It's a somatic tool. It's a powerful energetic tool. It's an activation within your entire system, and it's called the Personal Light Grid Activation. And you can access that below, and I will gift you with a 20% off code. Just put in YouTube into the code little box and you'll get 20% off. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this has helped, and I hope that you begin to come more into communion with your own body and know that that embodied knowledge is what you're truly looking for, not all of the extra little extra things that you think you need. What you're searching for, that thing that is making you feel as though you haven't quite reached that level of inner satiety, you really actually want to be present in your body, fully embodied, feeling your light, feeling yourself fully anchored here. Sending so much love. Bye.